Servers work hard. They also have tails. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Your Server. Our first tale is from, oh look, a nugget. I work in a small but very busy local bakery. We can wear whatever we'd like, and today I wore a sweatshirt from my college days. I'm in my 30s but look young. The following exchange happened. Customer points to my shirt.
Oh, do you go there?
I did a while ago.
I've heard it's become a really good school.
Yeah, they've expanded it a lot. It's completely different now than when I was there.
Is that where you got your education?
Yup.
So is that why you're here selling donuts?
I managed to produce a smile and politely explained that I have young kids at home, excluded the part that both have high support needs and various therapies, which sent him off on a tangent about how
Kids do better in life if their mom is home with them.
about how it's such a burden for dads to make everything else work. Also about how he's diabetic and shouldn't be eating donuts. Sir, why are you even here then? You know, that's a fantastic question, one that I don't even think that sir would have any kind of answer to. Our next tale is from Meatloaf Sleeve. It's my 21 female first post here. I needed somewhere to vent because I am disgusted. I work in a itty-bitty family-owned sushi restaurant, by the way. The names I use are not their real names. Like always, Fridays are insane. I was closing out one of my tables towards the end of the night. I picked up 2 handful of plates off their table, so my hands were full. It was 2 adult men, I'm guessing over 45 years old, and 1 woman. They told me they were ready for the check. I let them know I was going to drop off the dirty plates and come right back with the bill. One of the men, we'll call him Bob, proceeded to hand me his credit card, despite both hands being stacked full of dirty dishes. Bob wedged his card in between 2 of my fingers. The other man, we'll call him Jeff, says, "Her hands are full, she can't take your card yet." Then Jeff takes Bob's credit card out of my hand and put it in his pocket. Well, Bob didn't like that. Bob said,
Oh no, you need to take my card. I'm paying for dinner.
I apologized and said, "I'm sorry, my hands are full. I'll be right back with the bill so we can figure it out." Bob opens his mouth yet again and says,
I'm going to spank you for that. You're being a bad girl.
I did not say a word. I stood there in shock and finished bussing their table. The couple sitting at the table, Jeff and the woman, just quietly laughed as I walked away. And to top it all off, he followed up on that comment with,
You're no longer getting a tip.
I would think that the lady at the table would have some sympathy for me and maybe apologize to me on his behalf. Like half an hour later, she was standing next to me while I was running someone else's bill while that man was using the restroom, so she was alone, and just awkwardly smiled at me. I was honestly expecting her to say something about it. Edit, I don't care if he was joking. Literally disgusting for a man to say that to a 21-year-old girl. Nobody doing any kind of job should have to be subjected to treatment like that. Honestly, Bob sounds like the typical piece of shit, and it really makes you wonder how many other people he's subjected to his bullshittery. This next tale is from Icarus Sunshine 16. I just finished my shift and ordered boneless wings to go. Extra wet so that they wouldn't be dry by the time I got home. I went up front to the host stand to get my stuff together and leave, just like always. And I set my to-go bag, with the bright yellow ticket reading my name on the order taped on the bag, on the bottom of the shelf of a tall rack next to the host stand. The rack is used for to-go orders, but only the top shelf, while the other 3 shelves are regularly used for storage. We also have a sign on top of the rack that says not to take to-go orders off the rack. Let the hosts do it. I stepped away for a minute to call someone, was gone less than 5 minutes, and came back to find my food was gone. The host just came up front. She had gone to the kitchen after I stepped away, and I asked her if she had seen my food. She was really confused, then said it was possible that a customer could have taken it. She said she had just checked out a guy while I was away and told him it would still be a few minutes for his order, and she went to the kitchen to check on the order. Well, he was gone now, so we called him. I listened to the whole call. She told him that he had the wrong order and needed to come back because his order was still being made. And he said,
I'm going home first and we'll make sure it's the wrong order.
"No, we're telling you that it's the wrong order. You just left. All you had to do was turn around." 10 minutes later, he calls us back. He says,
After taking a look at the ticket on the bag, it's the wrong order.
"Yeah, that is what we told you." He came back and didn't even apologize for taking someone else's order. He just barely stuck his head inside, handed it over, grabbed his, and made sure he got his ranch before leaving without another word. I was so upset about it, and by the time I got home, the wings were dry. This guy's a regular to-go order customer who took the bag that was at the bottom shelf at the floor and assumed it was his after being told his wasn't ready, then left without telling anyone. What goes through people's heads when they do things like this? He looked and talked to us like he was the one being inconvenienced. I told another host about this, and they said it was perfectly fine and nothing wrong about it, but that they're only saying that because they like him. Edit. Adding that, though it's technically next to the host stand, the rack is mostly behind it, so a customer actually has to talk to a host to get their order. Besides, there's a sign on the rack saying to talk to a host for an order and not grab bags. This customer, a guy who orders to-go every week, the second host walked away to check the kitchen after telling him his food wasn't ready. Just grabbed my food off the bottom shelf and left. The bottom shelf is storage. My food was surrounded by spray bottles, other cleaning supplies, boxes, and lost and found things. It was also separated by other to-go orders by 3 shelves, being on this bottom shelf that touches the floor and has storage on it. Unfortunately, there's a reason that saying "you can't fix stupid" exists. Because of people like this, they just seem like they're the main character. I'm finding more and more of that as I progress through my own life, that a lot of people seem to have main character syndrome and think that they're the star of everything, when in reality they're only the star of their own life. This next one is by Normal Kangaroo 9747. I recently left my job at a restaurant, and one of the biggest reasons was realizing that my entire team had been secretly keeping tips while I was honestly putting mine in the designated tip box for monthly distribution. For months, I trusted that everyone was following the system, only to find out later that they were splitting the money amongst themselves in secret, without including me. What hurts the most is that they didn't just exclude me, but actively deceived me. Whenever I stepped away, I noticed that some tip folders from my tables would disappear. I never saw who took them, but they were gone sometimes when I returned. Later, I even caught some of my teammates sharing tips among themselves. Even new employees, including a girl who just joined around the same time as me, were included in the secret system, but I was kept out. I never asked about tips in the beginning, assuming everything was fair. Maybe that was my mistake. What made it worse was that even on big tables where multiple people worked, they would still secretly split the tips among themselves. I saw this happening on my last day, and that's when I decided to leave. Sometimes I was working as a runner, so I never asked for my share because I genuinely believed everything was going into the tip box. Was that my fault? Or was my mistake putting tips into the box? I'm so tired of this industry. Have you ever been in a similar situation? What do you think led to this? Was it my silence, my trust, or just workplace politics? They made this group where everyone was following unspoken rule and never let me know and lied to me. So they can earn more than me, which is basically stealing from me. Yeah, I'd say they were running a secret system and they were just being dicks and taking advantage. Every single one of them, just big stinky dicks. Honestly, I think in the end the OP's probably better off not working at a place with a bunch of shady fucks. And our final tale is from Stupid Useless Twat. A little info. I was pretty much the only one who paid attention to the little details and got the little details taken care of. I used to be a server, bartender at a golf course. I didn't recall any of the coffee pots being cleaned in the last 3 years, so I decided, let's see if these bitches are dirtier than the line cook's mom. I peeped inside one and holy hell, it was beyond disgusting. Like, I was about to barf disgusting. On a slow day when I had no tables, I spent time cleaning and sanitizing every coffee pot we had. There had to be at least 30 of them. The next day, we were having a lunch rush and a regular customer asked me if we'd changed coffee brands because the coffee was much more tasty than it was last week. The regular was one of the ones who insisted on sitting in my section because I wasn't afraid of all her food requirements, and she thought I was awesome for some strange reason.
Did you switch to a better brand of coffee? It's so much better. The coffee has been a bit shot as of late.
I gave the coffee pots and the machines a serious cleaning.
Good on you.
The general manager overheard and said, "Nobody has ever cleaned those since I've been here." Ugh. I got promoted to shift supervisor after that. Whee! I think it's pretty sad that the general manager knows that the coffee pots weren't being cleaned and didn't bother trying to enforce that the employees of the location he was the general manager of, I don't know, maybe did their fucking jobs? Good on OP though for doing what everybody else seemingly couldn't. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Your Server. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.